last week with Cleveland, I didn't like their matchup. I didn't think they were going to score a lot, but I did say Kellen Winslow will probably catch a touchdown pass because somebody has to, and it's kind of the same deal this week. Somebody's got to. It's probably going to be Kellen Winslow. Anyhow, he's always a good start no matter what the matchup is, even though I know Cleveland has a tough schedule. Kellen Winslow, always a good start. And number 5, Jason Witten versus Philadelphia. Again, not that Philadelphia is an easy draw, but Monday night game. That and the fact that he's Tony Romo's like safety blanket. Jason Witten will usually be in the top 5 tight ends. Letdowns of the week, guys, you need to watch out for, guys that might not live up to their standards. And I'm not saying guys that are totally going to fail. That's the difference. Letdowns aren't necessarily total bust. They're just guys that don't perform like you expect them to. And to start off with quarterbacks, my quarterback letdown of the week, to me, I think is going to be Jay Cutler. And I know he had a giant week last week, and you're saying, what, Jay Cutler? How would you say that? I'll tell you. Jay Cutler had a huge week against Oakland last week. Really, really, really big week, but it was against Oakland. Not overly impressive because it's Oakland. This week he draws a much tougher secondary in San Diego. All right? So his numbers are bound to go down. Not that they're not going to be okay numbers, but he's not going to do what he did last week. He's going to let you down a little bit if you think you're going to get that every week from Jay Cutler. If they play Oakland every week, that's what you're going to get. Unfortunately, they don't. This week they play San Diego. Even though I said I like Denver to win the game, maybe. Okay, yeah, I like them to win the game. I don't think Jay Cutler is going to throw for over 300 yards this week. I just don't. They're going to gut it out and win the tough game, I think. But I don't think that I don't think that Cutler will just come out and throw all over the field. He'll have good games this year, really good games. But like I said, he's not playing Oakland every week. Don't get too used to those big, giant games from Jay Cutler. I just don't see it happening, especially not against San Diego. Okay. Running back. Rams running back Steven Jackson versus the New York Giants. And I know that's kind of an easy one. I shouldn't be, because Steven Jackson should be great. But it's an easy one because St. Louis is so bad. It's just so bad. And against the Giants, a defense that looked tough. Clinton Portis, I think, got 80-some yards maybe last week. Does that sound? That's right, isn't it? Let me check yeah, 80-some yards last week. And he toughed that out. He fought tooth and nail. He barely was every inch that he had of strength just to get the 80 yards that he got. And Washington's better than, I think they're better than St. Louis. They can at least protect a little better. They can at least block a little better. St. Louis has no line whatsoever. Steven Jackson is going to get the ball more often than not this weekend. They're going to try to give the ball to Steven Jackson, but the Giants' D will be all over him. All over him. Steven Jackson gets shut down this week versus the Giants. That's my prediction. Wide receiver letdown of the week. Randy Moss at the New York Jets. Now, I know what you're saying. Randy Moss came in even after Brady went out. Still had, I think 6 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown. Matt Castle hits him for a touchdown. But listen, Matt Castle, all right, how do I put this? Nobody had any tape on Matt Castle. Going into last week, nobody knew what to expect from Matt Castle. Nobody thought to expect anything from Matt Castle because when you played the Patriots, you prepped for Tom Brady. You don't know anything about Matt Castle. Nobody does. He hasn't started a game since he was in high school. Pardon me. In college, he threw. He threw 33 passes in college. His entire college career. He was a backup at USC for Carson Palmer, and then a backup for Matt Leinart. And then he gets drafted into the pros, and he's just been hanging out as a backup in the pros. It's incredible. It's really incredible. And he comes out and he has a decent game the first time he's called upon as a backup. But don't think that the Jets aren't going to be keyed in on Randy Moss. They know that's going to be the one place he wants to throw the ball. Wouldn't you think? That's the one place he's trying to get. That's the one place he's trying to squeeze the ball into. And the Jets, remember, the Jets play the Patriots well sometimes. Every now and then they step in and they really give them a game. Eric Mangini knows that system pretty well. So Jets against Patriots by itself is a little bit different because some things are just different. Like the Cardinals-Cubs. Even when one team's bad and one team's good, the rivalry is always still really good. Right? It's kind of the same deal with the Jets and the Pats. the Jets always play the Pats tough, and I think they're going to again this week. And I think they're gonna really, really try to prevent Matt Castle from getting the ball to Randy Moss in some way, shape, or form. And I think they'll get it done because I think that the Matt Castle luster will wear off. I mean, he's just not going to be. Well, I mean, he may be like another Tom Brady. He just steps in and takes over and is a Pro Bowl quarterback for the rest of his life. But it's hard to catch lightning in a bottle twice. So if the Patriots can do it again with Matt Castle, I will be absolutely blown away. But there's a very, very, very good chance that he's just another backup. All right, he's just another backup. As soon as defenses get a little bit of tape on this guy, he's done. All right, he's mediocre, he's regular, he's normal. He's not a guy you want to plug in and start. And he doesn't have an arm that you want to put a receiver with. Does that make sense? So don't be too high on Randy Moss because he went for over 100 and a touchdown with Matt Castle last week. Defenses are going to key in on that and shut him down. I'm the Matt Castle and Randy Moss. That's what I think. My tight end letdown of the week, here goes. I don't really have one. How's that? I don't really have one. Any starting tight end in your league, I was looking at the matchups, and I like them. I kind of like them. I kind of like all the matchups. Any starting tight end, let's say the top 15 tight ends in the league, I like them all. Those are the guys that are going to be starting in your league, so I don't have any tight end letdowns. It's not because I'm lazy. I just couldn't come up with one. I was looking. I would have to force something. I don't want to force it. I want it to be things that I actually feel. I don't want to say, I don't know, maybe this guy. I don't want to do that. I just don't see it. I don't see a big letdown from a big name tight end this week. I just don't see it. So let's go to sleepers. Let's move right forward to sleepers. My sleeper quarterback. All right, Damon Heward. I talked about him a little bit earlier. Kansas City quarterback. Now that Brody Croyle has a separated shoulder, he's going to miss about 4 to 6 weeks. Damon Heward gets the start versus Oakland. He'll have a nice game. However, keep an eye on this. And this could be helpful. A guy like Damon Heward could be helpful. I know it sounds crazy. You would never start a guy like Damon Heward. But if you have Tom Brady as your starting quarterback and some guy as your backup, JT O'Sullivan, some guy as your backup that now you have to plug in and you need somebody to come fill a spot, take a look at Damon Heward. I'm telling you, not that he's going to put up big, huge numbers for you or anything, but based on matchups, you might be able to plug him in here and there and get a little value. I think this week would be one of those weeks when he's versus Oakland. I think he has a decent week. Something to keep an eye on, though. Kansas City has a rookie quarterback named, I think, Tyler Thigpen. I don't know much about him, but I do know that Coach Herm Edwards has said they would like to try to get him involved in the next few weeks, try to get him some snaps out there. So, this week, Heward is getting the start. For sure he's getting the start, but it's kind of yet to be seen how often this Thigpen gets thrown in the game. But still, I don't think it's going to be much against Oakland. I think Heward's going to have a decent game, and he's my sleeper pick at QB for the week. And remember, sleeper is a guy that's way, way under the radar. So that's what I'm saying. My running back sleeper, Derek Ward. All right, and he's a backup. He's a backup running back. He's the Giants' backup running back, but he's my sleeper because I think St. Louis is so bad that the Giants will have a good game with two running backs, kind of like they did last week. Derek Ward actually had a nice week last week against Washington. Not a bad week at all. I don't think he got into the end zone, but he did okay. He compiled quite a few yards behind Brandon Jacobs. I think he gets into the end zone this week. Listen to this. I think that both Giants running backs get close to 100 yards and touchdowns, one touchdown apiece. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. So I think Derek Ward is my sleeper pick of the week. If you need a guy to throw in your flex spot, somebody went down, maybe you had too much riding on Willis McGahee, something like that. I'm telling you, Derek Ward, if you can get your hands on him, might be a decent start this week because St. Louis is so bad. My wide receiver sleeper.